This presentation is titled Investigative Principles, and it's an introduction to what, in my opinion and experience as an investigator, is essential to your success when conducting due diligence research. And that's both in regards to the information you find and the methodology that you use. So treat due diligence as an investigation. That's crucial to your success. And for an investigation to succeed, you need to follow certain principles. And I'm going to go through most of them in this short video. ABC. Now, ABC was something that I learnt as a very young police officer and as a detective. You may have heard it on some of the police drama programs, but ABC stands for assume nothing, believe nobody, until you check everything. And that's really important. It sort of goes to the roots of suspicion. Adopt a suspicious mindset and understand that people aren't necessarily always going to tell you the truth, particularly those individuals that may be involved in money laundering, terrorism or proliferation. So assume nothing, believe nobody, until you check everything. Now, GIGO is a principle that relates to investigations and gathering information. It's garbage in and garbage out. Now, if you're conducting online research, effectively the internet or the web is represented here in this skip, full of lots of rubbish. And your job is to go through that skip and extract the information that is relevant to your inquiry, and it might be together in certain pieces, and reconstruct that as a piece of intelligence, a business intelligence. And to do that, you have to go through a process, and I'll cover that in another video which is entitled The Intelligence Cycle. So GIGO, if you hear that, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you are responsible for conducting due diligence and merely paste in blocks of text that you've gathered from a web page, then that is effectively what you are doing. You have to do other things, and I'm going to come to that shortly on this video as well. You must keep records of what you do. Now, that can be quite difficult when you are conducting online research. You tend to click on tabs, you conduct searches, you quickly move through certain pages and blocks of text and images. It's very, very difficult to keep up with the pace of an investigation in terms of online records. There are systems out there to do this for you. I personally favour Hunchly. I've used it over the years. It will keep a record of all my searches, the pages I visited, any images that I capture, the times. All these sorts of things are very, very relevant to if you find a piece of information that becomes relevant to a law enforcement agency, for example, or if you're later questioned perhaps by a regulator to say, how did you find that piece of information? Can you show us it again? Or it could be even your manager, that you've found a very interesting or relevant piece of information and you've now got to put that into the jigsaw puzzle, but somebody might want you to retrieve it and show them again. So keeping records is vital. So there are many ways to do it. It may be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet, so you need a copy of the URL, the web address, a note of the time, and perhaps some context about what you found. That can be quite time consuming, and that's why I favour something similar to Hunchly, and there are of course other systems out there as well. Analyse, don't just accept. You have to understand that what you find on the internet is information. It can be misinformation, it can be disinformation, it could be credible. So you gather the information, and where you are looking to go with it is to address what I would know as the 5 WHs. The who, the what, the where, the how, the why and the when. So who is this person? Do you really understand who they are? What is it they do? What is the business? What references are there in terms of media online about them? Where do they live in the world? Where do they operate their business? And those could be completely different places, remember. How do they conduct themselves? How do they conduct their business? Why do they do what they do? Why have they come to your company? And when? Historically, there may be a need to look in the historical context. When were they at certain companies, for example? When did they run certain businesses? It will all be fit in the context of your particular inquiry in your business. So the 5 WHs, this is what it's going to get you from information into intelligence. And there's a process you go through to get that. And as I said earlier, I will cover that on the intelligence cycle video. So analyse, don't just accept. You've got to do something with the information that you find. Security. Security is another important issue when you're online. Not just for the way that you conduct your investigation and trying to obfuscate issues such as your IP address, because that may actually compromise your investigation, and I'll cover that in another video. But you've also got to think about the security of the information that you gather in the course of that investigation. And the sum total of it can be quite powerful. And if that was leaked into a public environment, that would constitute a data breach. So you have to take responsibility for that information, because it becomes intelligence, and you're going to perhaps put your thoughts into that as well. It can be very, very powerful. It's something you must discipline yourself to take care of. Things like, don't leave documentation on a desk before you go home at night, for example. Make sure that you lock your computer screen, and you take a range of measures to protect the information and protect yourself. And there will be a separate course around information security, which will cover that in a bit more detail. Mindset is really important again, and this is the people that I find in my experience that perform better with due diligence research and investigations are those who are prepared to question things. They don't accept things at face value. They're prepared to look at things in different ways and approach information in a very objective way, that they are prepared to look at it in different ways. Obviously it would depend on what you are looking at, but we have to consider things like bias as well, that we've all got biases and you've got to address them. And I could give many examples of over the years where there's been investigations where I've had to check my own personal biases about things. So I present a much more objective and professional and balanced report at the end of the day. But mindset is really about questioning things, being analytical in your thinking, not just accepting information as you see it, and looking at things in different ways. So those who are prepared to shift their mindset and think differently always perform better on these types of investigations. So again, if you've any questions or comments, please feel free to email me. If you feel there's something missing from these videos, I'm more than happy to readdress them. I hope you find it useful.